By listening to this podcast, you agree to not use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in yourself or others, including, but not limited to, patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall any guests or contributors to the podcast or any employees, associates, or affiliates of the Neuroendocrine Cancer Awareness Network be responsible for damages arising from use of this podcast. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Let's Get Real with NCAN. I'm your host, Mike Wayman from NCAN. The holidays are upon us. It's the end of the year. It's the last episode of the year for us. And we want to first thank everybody for consuming this podcast. It's really important that we do that, because without your support and without your numbers, it wouldn't continue. And that means the world to us. Thank you for spreading the word. If you are looking for a gift idea that could give to other people as well, consider donating to NCAN, making a donation under in somebody else's name. Go over to netcancerawareness.org, and they have a donate page there where you just click on it. We make it super easy. Next year, we got a lot of really cool events planned. We're going to hit new areas that we haven't been to. Alabama. We're going to go back to Charlotte. We got a whole bunch of things planned, possibly a full-on Spanish-speaking conference. And just stay tuned for all of that. We're going to have these programs as well, a lot more live streams. But if you want more information on that, netcancerawareness.org, go to the events page or follow us on social media at NetCancerAware. Today, we have almost like a follow-up episode. We are welcoming PJ Jungling, who is Alex Jungling's husband. He's going to give a little bit of the caregiver side of the story and share his experiences, his expertise, if you will, over the past few years dealing with NETs. And so if you missed the Alex episode, go ahead to the NCAN YouTube page. The YouTube channel will have the Let's Get Real area, the little playlist. Search back Alex Jungling and watch that. And without further ado, PJ, welcome to the show, man.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is really cool. I was telling him a little bit before. He is one of NCAN's, like, one of the, in terms of a caregiver side, the other side of the story. He is like one of our main people. He is like the mold. He is an example for caregivers, in my opinion. And he's young, So, that's pretty awesome. And man. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think it's really important to get your perspective as well, because I think what a lot of people forget is, this is all very much patient focused, but what about the people on the periphery, or the people that are living lives with the patients and moving, trying to navigate this as well. So tell us a little bit, give us a little bit of a background, like a Reader's Digest version of your journey with Alex in NETs.
In terms of like where like it all started, like the hospital stay, all of that, or like
just a quick version of it.
Okay. So we got married in 2019, November 9th, and a week after our honeymoon, we got back, and Alex started to feel kind of, not feeling the best. She went to a Med Express, and they told her she had a virus, no big deal. Go home, get some rest. And that was, 3 days later, or 2 days later, I think she woke me up in the middle of the night. And she's like, I can't breathe. Like she was holding her chest. Like she just like, I can't breathe. So we get in the car, rush her to the ER. And then that's when we find out that she had a blockage in her lung that was making her have pneumonia. Fast forward a couple of days after they go in and get a biopsy and all of that. Doctor just rolls in, says, well, the test results of your uh, biopsy. And we're like, no, we haven't talked to anybody. Like, well, this was after they had transferred her to a different hospital that wasn't equipped to, take care of what was going on with her.
Sure.
The doctor rolls in and he's like, well, the biopsy. And we're like, no, nobody's told us anything. And he just drops like, well, it's malignant. Like literally, that's how he tells us that she has cancer. It's just it's malignant. And then just
Yeah.
goes on talking about her having surgery. And like both of us, I don't think knew how to handle that like bomb that had just been dropped, like just, like boom.
Right.
And, you know, at the time, I think it was just like shock in terms
Sure.
of like um just that's not how you plan, just being married and
Yeah.
next thing you know you're in the hospital and one of us has got cancer.
Sure.
um but fast forward, she gets released from the hospital after they get her pneumonia controlled and everything. She's breathing better. And then they scheduled her to have her lung removed, to go in and cut it. And um, she went in and she was in surgery. I don't remember how many hours it was. I think it was like 6, 7 hours. And during that surgery, he was only supposed to take the upper lobe because that's where like most of it was. But when he got in there, he found that the tumor actually was in her bronchial tubes that separates the upper and lower lobe. So he ended up having to decide to take the whole thing. So she only has one lung, and we spent a couple. I think she was in the hospital. The bad thing is I don't remember the time frame,
Sure.
and that probably doesn't look good on me. I just know it was a long time in the hospital. Um, but just I will say I've gotten very used to the uncomfortable chair in the corner of every hospital room. um, but I wouldn't change it. It's one of those things like I I love her to death and I would go through, anything with her. So it's just um trying to get everything and um fast forward to a year from then after she got out the hospital for that. um we were given the okay to try to, have a kid. She gets pregnant, and 7 months, 8 months, she ends up having a blood clot, ends up having to go back into the hospital. Some complications happen, and our daughter was delivered through an emergency C-section. She lived 6 days and passed away. Um, and we spent a full month in the hospital with that stay. Um, and then now we're just, taking it day by day, and Alex is staying on top of her scans and, just doing what we can, making it
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the way you described it and the way you talk about her and how much you love her and stuff, that's like really, really, I think that's super important to see. And the way that you've been speaking about it is like, this stuff impacts you too,
Yeah.
as a caregiver, and yeah, it's a testament to loyalty. It's a testament to loyalty for something, because you had just been married for a couple of weeks and all this stuff happens, and there you were hanging out in that chair. So That
Yeah.
the hats off to you, man. Like a lot of people would bail, you know.
Well, I joke with her saying she tested the in sickness and health part real fast.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's good that you've got a little bit of a sense of humor about it, because none of this
Yeah.
is fun, none of it is easy, but uh the fact that you could kind of make light of some of this is pretty
Yeah.
great. Do you find that to be one of the important things to uh navigate being a caregiver? I know that, you know, there's a lot of different types of people who will, you know, just either freak out and just shut down, or, you know, some people that just make a joke of everything. Like, what did you find your coping mechanism and your like how did you react with her to try and keep her on course and keep her spirits up?
Um, I think the biggest thing is just like for her, it's or what I do is like, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna be okay. Um, it's okay. Like just I think the reassurance part, like, is important. Um, just because, I think the hardest part for me as a caregiver is like I have like this natural, like it's one of my things, like I just want to help people. And um when you're sitting, like when you're in the room and you're having to, like, hand it off to the doctors to handle it and all of that, it's the hard part is to, like, like it's out of your hands, so you got to stay, like it's okay, like, but at the same time you also got to, you know, your mom talks about it all the time, like being your own advocate and all that stuff. But I also feel like for me, my job is to, be her backup when her fighting for it is not able, like, like she's sedated or something, like, like I have to be her reinforcements to take over that. And I think that's what helps me cope is knowing, like, I'm able to support her even though I feel like I can't do anything. Like just being there, like that's my cope. Like I just supporting her is what gets me through it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What in terms of like your the journey and stuff, um what what do you find to be the most difficult part of being a caregiver?
um, for me personally, it's the waiting. Like, what's this test gonna say? Or, you're waiting for the procedure. When is the procedure gonna be over? Like, um, just that uncertainty part about it. Like, when she was having her lung, like during that surgery, I had a little moment where I freaked out because all I was doing was sitting in a waiting room, and I was looking at a screen that had her name and, surgery in progress next to it. And at the end of it, they made a mistake on the board and they put her in recovery. So like it went from her name to recovery, and then it went back to in surgery. So that like
Oh my
freaked me
gosh.
out. And like the it's hard to control your thoughts when you're just kind of waiting, like it's just at that point you're kind of putting the trust in the people who are supposed to,
Yeah.
do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could. It's always the in betweens. It's always the in betweens for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so going through all these difficult times and stuff like that, what besides saying, besides being that reinforcement and just kind of being that positive voice saying it's going to work out, it's going to be okay. What what kind of advice would you give to a, a newly uh, anointed caregiver when it comes to nets?
Um, I think the biggest advice I would say is just, it's scary. just because, Nets is very like unpredictable. But it's a fight that, it's a long one, but most of the time it's um how can I say it? Like
Well, I do think that
I
you kind of said it too. Excuse me, it is a long one.
yeah,
It potentially could be a long one.
yeah,
Um, and I think that, some of the doctors, I'm not saying this is every case, but in a lot of cases, some of these doctors say, hey, you're gonna die of something else. You're gonna die with net
yeah.
cancer.
That's
You're
that's
not
what I
gonna
was
die
looking for.
of
Yeah.
net cancer. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, there's a saying about it. I was like, it's right here, and like that. It's something else that'll be the thing that goes like
yeah,
like, but it's gonna be it's a long one.
yeah. What coping tools have you specifically used? Have you you know have you gone to therapy, or what kind of things have you used, or have you just dove into a hobby, or how have you coped with some of the pressures of being a caregiver?
So I have done some therapy. Working, with me and her both have, gone through grief therapy, and with that, it spiraled, like it didn't spiral, but like it separated to where like I went into, single like therapy with my therapist, and that helps. Just talking, and the other thing is like my thing is I'm a big gamer. So for me, like I kind of just, when she goes to bed, just turn on a game and just kind of forget about it a little bit, and that's what helped me.
Yeah, well, I think that that's kind of the best way to describe that is like, don't lose yourself
Yeah,
as well. I think it's very important that, you know uh, you can be dedicated to somebody, you can be dedicated to their health and well-being, and there could be rough times, but uh, self-care is super important. So yeah, therapy certainly does help, and hobbies, things that turn your brain off,
yeah,
because otherwise you'll go crazy.
yeah,
um, Something that, through Facebook, I know that you guys go on a lot of adventures too. So I think,
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that, and like the travel process, and how, like, things are kind of calm at the moment.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the good things that you guys have been doing lately.
Um, the biggest thing this year is we've tried to make it like where we were going to more concerts because us, we love our music. So, um, we went on our 5th year anniversary um trip to Helen, Georgia, where we went stayed in a cabin up in the mountains. Just trying to enjoy what we have and get out and have a good time. The We come see, come down to North Carolina, South Carolina, come see Trisha and them all the time, and Marianne. Uh, just I think it helps us kind of it separates things.
Sure.
Like, at home, home, and has the day to day and what you go through, and but I think the traveling and going to new places, experiencing new things, just making the most out of what we got, and just that separates it to where like, all right, this is our time. We're gonna go enjoy ourselves and not think about back home.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's something that I think everybody kind of goes through that in one way or another. With when you're at home, you look around. There's always something to do,
Yeah,
and yeah, when you're going through medical stuff, it's where it all is still too. So displacement is super important. And the fact that you guys are able to do that, and what you keep saying is super important. Just enjoy what we do have.
yeah,
Enjoy what we do have. That's something that's huge. And I think that the fact that you can do that, I think, because a lot of people default to uh, worrying about excuse me, worrying about what the problem is and what could possibly be, and what what could be taken away, and what could this and that, and
Yeah.
you guys focusing on, all right, we have this now, let's enjoy this, let's savor this.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I think that's awesome. I think that's really, really awesome.
Now, I will say, like, it took us a little bit to get where we are.
Sure.
Like, her first year, I remember when she was first diagnosed, like I came home to her with the computer in front of her and she was searching up carcinoid tumors because the doctor, wasn't fully versed in nets.
Sure.
And of course she's on like WebMD and all that stuff, getting like the information that just, will make somebody spiral.
Sure.
And I think that's one thing that I love Marianne and Bob for, like all of y'all at Nets, is like, or NCAN, is just being able to get the information out to help somebody make them feel better, to where, like, this isn't what they're all saying it is. And
Right.
it's like just all the people that I've met at NCAN, like, it's like it helps. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, like I said, it's a long one, but and something else will kill you before Nets will. So it helps that be real. So I think that's what has helped us a lot too, is like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, and I always ask people because, I don't know, I find that there are people that generally will get diagnosed with something, and just kind of internalize, and very much like kind of just kind of keep to themselves, keep things
Mhm.
quiet, all that kind of stuff. So my question to you is, yeah, and I asked Alex this as well. You guys are very involved with the net community.
Yeah.
You're super involved with NCAN and stuff like that. So what made you take that route as opposed to shutting down, keeping to yourselves, keeping your head down, that kind of stuff? What made you kind of take more of the advocate route?
Um, just I think it was at first, like, there was some like Alex wanted to do. Um, and I was there, like I was supporting her, and then I realized like what it was, and NCAN, and like what was going on and what was being done for people. And for me it kind of shifted, like, like I think this could take, like, both of us, not could take us, but like, this is something we could do together. And um just I lost my thought where I was going with it. Just it Let's see. uh I'm sorry.
No,
uh
no, it's okay.
just it come down to, like, it was me also continuing to support her is my thing, is like, and then like I've come to love you guys, and like it's become something as part of us, like as a whole. So it just, now it's like we've joined another family.
That's awesome.
And yeah. And
Yeah. Oh,
oh,
no,
sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's and that's something that I kind of, I say it a lot, and not that I deal with a ton of the other, other communities and stuff like that, but I do find that uh, by and large, the net community is it is a family. It is like very very accepting, and I don't know. I think there's more willingness to share information than in other situations. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was going to ask how you felt uh, the net community was to you and how you feel about it. But I think you kind of explained that in that explanation.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a family.
Yeah. Yeah. So what, to the patient side now,
Okay.
you're kind of on the outside looking in, because you've got a different experience than Alex, obviously, who is a patient. But to a new patient, what would you say their most important course of action is?
Um, Learning from what all has gone with us, I would say the first course of action would be to learn your options. Like you don't have to take everything at face value at the beginning. Like, you can get second opinions. And do your own research and um just try to, I don't know, I'm a big person of listening to my gut. So if something feels like it needs to go a different way, then, listen to yourself and take the route that you feel you need to.
Sure, absolutely. What do you think is the very first thing they need to do, as a newly diagnosed patient? What's the most important thing you can do first?
Um, as they just, take it day by day, stay calm, and, just know that it will get better. Like, you get some bad news and just, take it day by day. It will get better.
Awesome. And last but not least, like, what is like a tip or a trick that you kind of, not necessarily learned by a doctor or learned from whatever, what is like a tip or a trick that you could give to a net patient to kind of navigate it a little bit easier, or something that's helped you or Alex in her journey?
Um, do you mean like just in terms of like at uh, uh about
Just kind of anything, just some sort of like tidbit of information that maybe you didn't necessarily get from NCAN or you didn't get from a doctor, just something that you guys learned from navigating.
um I don't know. I don't have one right now. Like I don't know. Trying to think. Uh I
Like
will say try to like if anything comes to where like you're in the hospital or something, I would say try to bring something to keep yourself busy. Just for the waiting. Like, it's a lot of times that, and get the most rest you can, because like when we were in the hospital with Alex, like, doctors are coming in every
Sure.
10-15 minutes. So just rest when you can and just bring stuff to keep yourself occupied to, like for me, like I said, I'm a gamer. I took the Nintendo Switch with me when I wasn't taking care of her. I was over there just, messing with Pokemon or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's again, self-care. Don't lose yourself.
Yeah.
That's definitely the take home. Don't lose yourself in it. It's going to be there either way. Um,
Yep.
but you need to be you still too, because yeah, dealing with something like this, like you said, you could spiral and you could lose yourself
Yeah.
for sure. Well, PJ, thank you for taking the time out and talking with us and talking to us a little bit about your experience. I think it's really important. I think it's really cool that that we get a caregiver opinion and a caregiver point of view. And again, I mentioned that you're young as well, so
Yep.
the young opinion is also very important. I think it's kind of, it's refreshing to see that the future of the net community and how awesome it's going to be. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Everybody, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up wherever you are listening or viewing. Always remember to subscribe, follow, All those little things, they cost you nothing, and it helps this show greatly. Go over to netcancerawareness.org, where all of the information resides in terms of new events, blogs, glossaries, tips, tricks, where you can find a new support group that near you, and of course the NCAN YouTube page that is going to be really, really active in 2025. It was very active in 24. It's going to be more active in 25. It's going to be more great information, more videos, more interaction. You're going to be able to ask doctors questions yourself live quite a few times next year. So that is going to be our big goal for next year. Again, PJ, thank you for joining us, and everybody, Happy New Year. Enjoy the end of the year. We'll see you next year on another edition of Nets Get Real.